For Physics 1202Q Magic of Materials project, Dina Caniso, Stephanie Chinwo, Sadea Dawson, Samantha Lindquist, and Hanyu Wang did our project on sutures.
The use of sutures dates back to 3000 BC in ancient Egypt. In 400 BC, Hippocrates first used the word suture, which literally means to sew. Sutures back then were used to close wounds, however, it caused an increase in infection rate. So in 1867, Joseph Lister sterilized them with carbolic acid, and then switched to catgut sutures to decrease the infection rate. And then in 1886, Johnson & Johnson Corporation was created to mass-produce catgut sutures. How does it work? The purpose of sutures is to connect the edges of the skin and tissues in order for the skin to properly heal. This slide shows an SEM micrograph of the 2% pigment loaded braided silk sutures. On the left, you can see a 100 times magnification, while on the right, you can see a 1400 times magnification.
There's two general categories of sutures, absorbable and non-absorbable. Absorbable sutures are degraded by the body, while non-absorbable need to be removed by the doctor. In 1887, catgut and silk were originally the materials used for sutures. Catgut, which is made out of sheep intestines, was the absorbable suture material up until the 1930s. In 1938, nylon and polyester were created and used for sutures. In 1969, synthetic polypropylene was manufactured and used in sutures. Today, it is still the standard suture material for cardiac bypass surgery. In the 1960s, new synthetic materials that could be absorbed in the body were created. Previously, catgut was the only absorbable material. Now, synthetics like the Vicryl are more popular in the U.S. The discovery of stronger absorbable sutures would be beneficial to the medical field by reducing trauma and lowering infection rates.
Nylon in everyday life. Other than sutures, nylon has several other everyday uses. Nylon is somewhat resistant to heat, UV rays, and chemicals. It is also very strong, elastic, and resilient, which is why it has so many applications. Some examples of everyday uses include stockings, umbrellas, coats, gloves, ropes, and kites. History of nylon. The inventor of nylon was a man named Wallace Carruthers, who was director of DuPont Corporation's research center at the time. By 1934, Carruthers had developed weak fibers that were comprised of chemicals amine, hexamethylene, diamine, and adipic acid. He realized water was preventing more polymers from forming and altered the equipment so that it was no longer an issue. Nylon was patented in 1935 and in the markets in 1939. The product was used in several consumer goods. Unfortunately, Carruthers did not get to see his full success as he died in April of 1937.
Nylon is a polymer and is produced through polymerization. The first two things needed are diaminohexane, which you can see here in red, and hexane dicarboxylic acid, which you can see here in black. A hydrogen from the red side joins with a hydroxide from the black in order to form H2O, more commonly known as water. As these two are then joined together, the water molecule is lost in a process called condensation. This process happens again and again in order to make an ever-growing molecule. This is the process of polymerization. Nylon was originally used for women's stockings as a cheaper alternative to silk. It is now more commonly used for rope because of its strength and lightweight qualities, which makes it ideal for pulling or towing heavy materials. Another thing nylon is commonly used for is machine parts. Not only is it cheaper, as already mentioned, but it's heat resistant and non-conductive, which makes it a good material for machine parts and plastic fasteners. One final thing is kitchenware. The heat resistance of nylon makes it useful for things such as spatulas and tongs.
There has been a consistent economic impact ever since nylon was invented. More than half of nylon production goes to construction industry, and there has been over billions of dollars of economic flow starting in the 21st century. Also starting in the 21st century, car industry became another big consumer of nylon. Another interesting fact is that nylon industry was one of the few industries that did not get a huge impact during economic crisis. And here comes another interesting discussion when it comes to absorbable sutures. The development of absorbable sutures starting with an unintended discovery by a veterinarian named Dr. Alan Deaton. He noticed that the stitches on one of his injured animals were actually absorbed by its body. After this discovery, scientists aim to synthesize this type of absorbable sutures that can be hydrolyzed by human body through metabolism.
Here are a list of references. Thank you for watching.